Hotline Miami 2. What the fuck? The game starts with a pigman standing outside a house or some sort of building when he barges in and starts killing everyone in the premises. He methodically kills everyone in the building until he reaches the second floor, where he murders a man who was attempting to get intimate with a woman, to where he then attempts to get intimate with the woman unconsensually. This game is already disgusting. It turns out they're just shooting some freaky ass movie. Okay, we got fucking P. Diddy behind the camera. We move on to a bar where some furries are having a conversation and discussing making a move. Sounds freaky. The furry gang drive to some place where one of the furries gets out and massacres everyone in the building. Be prepared. There's a lot more of this. The fat asses go and pick up a pizza from a pizza place. I know, nothing better than a hot pie from Papa John's after killing everybody in a small townhouse. We pick up at a small diner with some grimy ass detective who cashes the check and dips. He heads to a mall looking place and once again kills everybody inside. This time I think there's some context of like a gang who owns the mall or something. Everything is like super vague, so I don't know. The detective stops by a brutal crime scene where a man lays dead in his apartment with his throat slit. I really tried to make that sound scary. How'd I do? We got exposition on a serial killer on the loose, so yeah. So they rewind the tape. The fuck is this, Blockbuster dude? We hop on another story with some bald fat dude who's like from the south and shit. This happens a lot. We just keep hopping around from person to person like it's an anthology film or something, kind of like VHS if you've ever seen that. The fat ass dude goes to some place where they look like some mafia members and shit. This one actually has some context, but it's low-key the same. He kills everyone in the building and takes a briefcase of cash from the head guy or something. We skip straight to some weird interview on live TV, which turns out to be a dream, and the guy that's being interviewed is the main character of the freaky ass movie. And we see Gus Fring. Oh wait, we actually just see some chicken guy who looks like a weird character in this guy's mind. Fucking freak. We skip back to the movie where Shawty, that dude unconsensually did some very bad things to, escapes and gets the police on Pighead. He gets arrested, taken in and interrogated, but unfortunately the interrogator is an absolute idiot and turns away from the crazy killer, who then takes bro out. Of course, I mean, he's a fucking psychopath. Pighead fights through the police station to find the girl he kidnapped, and when he does find her, she kills him. Like, actually, on some Alec Baldwin shit, she bodies the shit out of him. Like, the director calls cut, and he's just, they're like, hey, yo, wake up. Yo. And like he's actually fucking dead. Good shit, bro. We cut to the middle of a court hearing for some guy, probably someone we've covered, but who knows. Our new guy is Evan, and he's writing a book on this dude. He calls a detective who tells him to go to a Russian-owned hotel where he kills everybody there after they don't let him in. I guess he's another psychopath now. He talks to a man named Petrov about the murders which were directed at the mafia. Evan and the grimy detective meet up and talk for a little bit about nothing, then split. We cut to the OG group of psychos who go out and try to help some lady friend of Zebrahead or something. He goes in and massacres everyone in order to save the girl, but it turns out you just killed all her friends. Sick. She also shoots you if you try to walk up to her afterwards, which means you have to restart back to the beginning of the floor. Don't ask me how I know. We get to a member of the mafia who wants out. The boss assigns him to take out some people at a chop shop and tells him to try some of their new drugs on his way there. He doesn't take the drugs, but he just has them, so I don't know. He grabs a big ass bag of money that he found in the chop shop and dips. He brings the bag of money home to his girlfriend, where he then goes to sleep and has a dream of taking the money and leaving to go somewhere when Gus Fring shows up to tell him that he's closing in on a dead end. Freaky. He wakes up to find his money and the car gone. He reads a note from his girlfriend telling him she dipped out with the money and that he would do the same. This is fucking strange. Both of these people would take the money and run away from one another. Why are you together? Me personally, I would have just shot her. His stroke game must be crazy. We cut to him tweaking and crying in some weird trap house with some other mafia gang when the OG psychos roll up and clear the place. After they clear the place, they find bro absolutely geeking off the drugs and they beat him to death while he pleads. This is extremely fucking sad. Why would they do this? He even says, why are you hitting me and why am I bleeding? And he tells them to call his girlfriend who will come pick him up. It's just extremely fucked up and sad. My jaw like actually dropped when this happened. I was just shocked. I am extremely sad now. They're also called the fans, which is like some hoe ass shit. So they're actually not the real OG psychos. We cut to some like military guys in Hawaii, and they stationed there and shit, and I think one of them is the fat ass guy from earlier, so they must be the actual OG psychos. They seem all chill and nice and shit, so hopefully these guys aren't as bad as the other fucks. The game takes place in some alternate universe where Russia's invading Hawaii or something, and we follow a ginger haired dude who clears out a bunch of Russians on the island and stuff. He goes back to base where he sees Russians lined up being executed and one being beaten in front of them. I was wrong about these guys. All of it is pretty sad and brutal, but it's real. I could definitely picture the US Army doing this. They find some intel and stuff, and I accidentally fat finger my mouse and we skip ahead back to the hoe-ass dude, or the fans, or whoever, and they're planning to steal some lettuce from the shady pharmacy, and they pull up and kill everyone again. We cut to the detective who is investigating the hoe-ass dudes and pull up on the sister of Ash Davis. Whoever's name is in that group, you got a terribly unfortunate name, and I'm praying on your downfall. The detective guy goes to kill everybody on this boat, and then the police show up and are like, awesome job, bro. He goes to another brutal scene that he supposes might be the work of the active serial killer. We pick up with the hoe-ass dudes, and they get new Gus Fring masks, and they all put them on, but the barehead guy starts tweaking, and it turns out they didn't get Gus Fring masks, I guess. I don't know, everything's all freaky, and one of the dudes is actually the girl we saw the detective visiting earlier. Duckhead gets a call from the phone he stole from the dude they brutally beat to death in the bar. RIP bro. Also, why would you take his fucking phone? Y'all are some actual bitch. The guy who is calling tells him that he knows he wanted out of the drug game, but invites him back over to their new place to celebrate the uproar of the new drug they've been slinging called crack. Oh wait, no, that's a little earlier. And this one's a pill. Obviously, the guy he's trying to call can't come, and of course he accidentally leaks the new address of the place to the hoe-ass dude so they can go ahead and pull up. The sequence is pretty cool. You play as each different character clearing each floor. So you'll play as one guy, clear a floor, and switch to somebody else and clear another floor, and so on. Also, all the dialogue is the exact dialogue Bearhead heard when he gave everyone Gus Fring masks and started tweaking out, which means he's probably gonna die. Or he's just a visionary. The whole chicken mask subplot thing kind of playing out in the background is also cool. He also pulls up to tell people vague things about their future, which is interesting, and I mildly enjoy it. Also, the two Duckheads are siblings, and one is the girl we saw, and the other is Ash Davis. Pretty interesting, but still a stupid ass name. The mafia boss shows up and kills Ash Davis. Fucking finally. He laughs and kills the other Duckhead as well. We cut to the detective guy and find out the SWAT pulled up in body, bear mask, and some other girl. The detective goes to talk to the remaining hoe-ass dude, Tigerhead. They have a little discussion, and the detective bodies his ass. It's low-key police brutality, but I mean, they are absolutely terrible people. This doesn't really justify it though, just because he's a terrible person, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have rights, you know? Like, innocent until proven guilty, except that motherfucker going straight to jail. We cut to the journalist guy waking up and reading a note from his wife, and he has a happy family and shit, which means he's probably gonna die a brutal death. He's on the train when a guy walks up asking for money. Also, his face is like extremely dark, which is like, I don't know if it's intended or what, but he just seems like oddly dark. Not trying to be racist or nothing, but I mean, it looks like he's racistly black, you know? Like, no disrespect. It's just really weird. Anyways, Evan starts geeking and sees the chicken man again, and then he transforms into his wife, and she starts shit-talking and telling him she's gonna take the kids and dip because he's broke as fuck. It's another weird-ass dream, but I love it. He snaps back to reality like Eminem, and when he tries to give the guy money after he asks for some, he says fuck no, which is like, if you calling me broke and you're already broke as fuck, then like, what does that make you? Evan beats up a bunch of dudes who are like hanging around the subway and spray painting, which is like, who the fuck are you, the police? Evan interviews some guy's mom who was like a psycho murderer, probably one of the hoe-ass dudes or one of the guys from the military. We actually cut to the military guys chilling on the beach. All the Hawaii stuff takes place in 1985, if I didn't mention it, so we keep going back in time like 6 years. They all chilling, talking about their lives after the war. They're all probably gonna die. I guess if like Gus Fring visits you, you'll die. If you have a happy family, you die. If you're part of the mob, you die. If you talk about your future life after you do this thing, then you're probably gonna die. Pretty much, if you're living in this game, you're gonna die. They're about to leave Hawaii and go back home, but they gotta do one more suicide mission, which is like crazy as hell, I guess, so they go ahead and do that. They regroup and ish and go to sleep. We cut back to the present hour with the fat-ass, bald-headed southern dude. He goes to some weird organization that he's part of and tries to get them to take down the mafia, and he starts to think that they're actually owned by the Russians or that they're already working on it or something. I don't know. He pulls up to take out the mafia guys, and once he leaves, he finds the hoe ass dude's van with the guy from the organization. And they head back to the organization place when the dude from the organization pulls out a gun and blows the fat ass dude's heads off. I know, right? Comical. Honestly, I don't know what the fuck is going on at this point. It's all weird and shit. Like, I don't even know what kind of conclusion to draw from the scene. We cut back to Evan, who is at his desk with the fat ass guy's clothes and mask and stuff, and takes some tape and stuff. We get a jump scare cut back in time to military dudes who turn out to be the hoe ass dudes, or at least the OG hoe ass dudes. The captain comes in with a panther mask on, so this is like their origins or some shit. It's really weird, and the captain is like going insane because of the war and shit. They go to capture a power plant when they reach the main office place, and they find everybody is dead in there because of the captain. When all of a sudden the power plant goes into override mode and everybody starts trying to dip, when an elevator blows up and kills one of the men. And the fat ass guy tends them. It's also the black guy who dies. I think he's the only one to die, which is pretty fucked up. You rescue the other guy who was injured, and the fat ass guy stays back with the dead guy and survives the meltdown, I guess. We cut to the ginger guy chilling, living his ideal life he was talking about, when he walks outside his shop to see a fucking nuke go off and kill everyone around San Francisco. This is fucking insane and very random. We cut to Evan talking to the kid of the lady who we saw him talking to earlier. I know, I'm not very good at storytelling, but just bear with me. He tells him about what happened and what made him commit the murders he did. His car's all burned up because he didn't do what the weird-ass dudes calling his phone told him to do. And they sound like the OG hoe-ass dudes because they've been telling him to paint the signature mark that they rep and shit. So they might be the OGs, or there might not be any OGs. And the hoe-ass dudes we know of might just be the actual OGs, who are just called the fans. I know it. This is a lot to convey and talk about. Whatever, but let's get back to this. I also think this guy we're now following might be Zebrahead. He bodies everybody at this weird bar run by the mafia, and then he dips. So it seems these messages are actually directing him where and what to do. Like they call him about a funeral home somewhere, and he'll go there, where he then finds a bar filled with mafia goons. The same thing was also happening with the fat ass dude we saw, but I still don't know why they killed him after he cleared that one place. Fake Zebrahead goes somewhere, bodies them, and then comes back to his mom passed out on the bathroom floor, to where he then carries her to bed. He goes to another place, does the classic thing, and yeah. We cut to Evan and the guy talking when he gets another notepad and then gets back to the phone. The guy tells us of a visit he got in prison by some weird-ass dudes who look grimy as fuck and would be shooting a scene of a porno film if they weren't there right then. There's a whole ride across the prison, so he has to escape and grabs a guard's uniform, so he just dips out with them. So it turns out he's actually hiding out in Hawaii after he escaped. I don't know how the fuck he got there, especially as a convicted felon who is supposed to be in jail. I also think he's supposed to be the guy, the ginger guy saved from the power plant, so he kind of deserves to be out of jail, I guess. I don't know, lock his bitch ass up. He asked Evan to buy a plane ticket for his mom so she can go to Hawaii with him. Pretty sweet and cute of him, you know. We cut to the mafia guys before that one dude died, and now they got to fuck up some strip club owned by the Colombians. He fucks the club up, and we cut to a conversation between him and the bald black guy who died earlier. And he gives the guy some money for his girl. I'm gonna call this dude the capo. We follow the capo back to his car. I don't know why, it's a little unnecessary. We cut back to the big boss and his goons, where they proceed to rob a bank owned by the Colombians, I guess. He goes to the vault where he dies, I guess. He sees his dad and he's like, "You little dumbass rabble rouser." But they all rushing and shit. His dad turns into Gus Fring and he starts talking to the big boss, telling him like, "You ain't here anymore, and neither is your dad." Shit, so it's safe to assume he's dead as fuck since he saw the chicken man. We cut to the detective investigating another murder scene, and the guy doing these is like going insane and shit. The detective heads back home to get some sleep, and he has this wild dream where he's looking for his gun and goes someplace and finds some fucking dude who, like, he's tweaking out of his mind when the tweaker tells him he's his son and shit, and then he tries choking him out when the detective pushes him and causes his head to smash into bits like they're glass, and he snaps back to reality like Eminem, to where he then walks outside to some guy in a golf cart who's dressed like the guys who visited the Zebrahead dude in prison. This is where I think everything clicked for me. I think the detective was the murderer because he has dreams where he then goes to people's houses and kill them. Even one murder has the victim in cuffs, and his cause of death is strangulation. Freaky. I don't know though. Let's keep going. This shit gets even freakier when you talk to the guy outside the house and the guy in the golf cart tells him he has another scene to do. What the fuck does this mean? It's all a movie? Is it just a freak fest? Did Pighead really die in the beginning? Are the whole ass dudes even real people? Is the mafia even real? Is every death even true? We have a scene where the fake police chief tells him to hand in his badge and he'll have someone else to confess, or he can get shot by all the police or something. He fights through the police department to where we see some people from earlier levels who we killed, like this other detective with a taser, who was also in the other movie part where Pighead died. Maybe it's just a huge recast and that's why we saw Pighead die or something. He wakes up to his phone ring where they call him into the station because of a situation. This is interesting. But for now, we cut to him at the Russian's place where he's looking for the big boss who turns out to be alive. We follow the Russian boss to the Colombian's place where he clears the place and assassinates the Colombian boss. He comes back home to his little place and starts popping pills and tweaking out. He starts killing his own men and kills this bear-looking thing, this thing flying back and forth through windows, this weird creature from the shadows, and then this transformed duck-looking thing. Once he kills the duck monster and proceeds to walk over this rainbow bridge from the roof. If you haven't caught on yet, this is the mafia boss killing all the hoe-ass dudes who broke into his place and a lot of his men. It's a very freaky sequence, but it is extremely cool. If we rewind back to the detective when he killed Tigerhead, after walking out, we saw a body covered by tarp. This was the mafia boss who jumped off the roof while tweaking. That's why there was a rainbow bridge and stuff. The game ends kind of, some credits happen and we cut to the zebra head guy who was in jail and shit, chilling with his mom in his house on the beaches of Hawaii. Then all of a sudden an emergency broadcast turns on, telling about the assassination of the President of the United States and the President of Russia, both assassinated at the same time while they were both at a press conference which was stormed by a US Army general. Probably the guy who was the leader of the unit we saw earlier. He turns the TV off, to which his mom turns into Gus Fring and tells Zebrahead that there's not much time left for him or anyone else. Soon, everyone will all be dead. He accepts his fate, and Gus Fring tells him leaving this world isn't as scary as it seems. This is extremely bleak and bitter. He stares off as the screen slowly turns white and a wave of fire brushes over them. Nukes have been mailed to the US. We get flashes to all the different characters in the game as the nukes go off and finish them. We see Evan eating happily with his family. We see the detective with a gun pointed at his door waiting for the ops to pull up as he also gets demolished. What a fucking freak. We see the lady who was assaulted in the beginning of the movie, which I guess implies none of the game was actually a movie. When we saw Pighead die, they just said cut because, I don't know, to show you he actually died. As if I didn't trust them. I don't know. Freaky. So yeah, this game was fucking insane. It's definitely an underrated game, and it's also really hard, but also extremely confusing. Thanks for watching. I don't know, this whole game is extremely weird, and the ending definitely left me shook. Like if you enjoy, subscribe if you have fun, or if I made you laugh, and comment if you have something to say. Feedback and suggestions are always welcomed and encouraged. I'm Bobby, and I'm
right here. What's poppin', Kermit?
A nigga like me, man, I love the game. I love the hustle, man. I be feeling like one of them ball-playing niggas, you know.
The fuck you say about my mama?
I don't want any trouble. Just get out.
You talking shit. Every time I come in this motherfucker, you got something to say.